Hello and welcome, I am Kira the Scrivener, and today I'm going to be talking about subscribers and how we can value and devalue ourselves through this. A little while ago I made a video that talked about how we do this to other people, and I really appreciated all the responses and thoughts, and I think that it's time to think about it in regards to ourselves. I think that it's much harder to do in regards to ourselves. I think that there's a lot more insecurity in that, and that we're afraid of feeling whiny, we're feeling of being too vulnerable or too raw, but I really want to ask you to engage that place in you, to really think of the places in yourself that you value yourself too highly and that you really devalue yourself, and to really encounter that today, hopefully. And if you're a content creator, close your eyes and think of where you thought you'd be in 1 month, in 6 months, in a year, or if you're past that, where you thought you'd be now. And do you have that number? Is it where you thought you were? Maybe not. Maybe you've just started and you've been blown away by where you've been. Or maybe you feel like you're Sisyphus and you've been going up that hill over and over again and nothing's paying on. You feel stagnated. You feel like nothing's going the way you thought you were going to. Or maybe you had a boost and now you're here and you're not sure of anything. If you're anything like me, it's a combination. I had great aspirations. I thought, I'm going to get so big, because all I saw were people who had thousands upon thousands of subscribers. And video after video, I was like, I'm not getting any attention. This is awkward. And I had to really readjust the way that I looked at it. I worked really hard for that first 100 subscribers that I didn't get for almost a year. And maybe for you, that 100 came in a video or two, or maybe you're still trying to get those subscribers and you're like, what's everyone doing? The number I had roughly in my head when I started was 1,000. I saw it all around me, people who shot right up, and then I moved it down to 500, and then 200, and then 100 by the end of the year. And I didn't get that in 2017, and the numbers I projected for 2018, I didn't get there either. And the numbers I projected for 2019 based on 2018 are numbers that I very have low expectations of reaching now, because my subscribers have stagnated, and that's okay. I still see myself as success. I still value the place I am, and, well, most days. And I really want to share that with you, because I see people who are all around me with much larger subscriber counts and much lower platforms who are lonely and dissatisfied, and I want to speak into that today. First of all, I'm going to talk to the lies, and through that hopefully turn them to truths. And I'm going to be using myself because it's the only story that I can speak to authentically, but I mean this for both you and me, because a lot of days I'm not here either. I have no one around me. This is an easy lie. It comes in many flavors, and it's one that I tell myself all the time, in real life and on BookTube. And it's derived more often than not from, at least for me, a desire to feel like a priority, because it's really easy for me to excuse other people liking me as, well, they like other people more. And BookTube is definitely very full of clicks, and it's very easy to see yourself as not one of those, and to see and to devalue other people's attention because they give other people more of it. But that's okay. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes again, because we love to close our eyes so that we can think, and to breathe, and to inhale, and to exhale, and to think of the people who in our lives invest in us and invest in our channel. And there might only be one, and there might be 1,000, but each one of them took time to watch your videos, to like, and to comment. Though your worth is not derived from them, try to think them as individuals and not as a collective, because those people have limited time, resources, and energy, and they chose to give you part of them. So yes, you may not have as much as other people, but you are not alone. You're not irrelevant, and you mean something to the people who hold you close in their heart, and to us strangers who watch you on the internet. So that number does not rise or fall your worth. And I want you to remember that when you see those numbers go down, and when they go up, and when they stay the same for far, far too long. I am a failure. This is a really easy lie to believe. Again, it is really easy to believe that you fell short because of numbers, because you're not feeling like you're putting enough effort into that. You're never going to be brave enough to make the content you wish you could, because that's not me at all. But try to remember why you first started making videos, why you're here, and why you chose BookTube or the area that you chose. Maybe it was to gather popularity. And then I will pass on a well-meaning message from a subscriber. I don't think it's a subscriber, that was probably not true, but he, wrote on several of my videos because he really wanted to make sure that I got this and got the message because he cares very deeply. He wrote it in all caps, and he wrote that this is not a very interesting area, that it's not the most successful, and it's frankly kind of boring, and I should really move around if I wanted success. So you're all about the numbers. I give you his words as a blessing, very much a blessing. But I started my channel because I really wanted to find light in a really dark area. I wanted to find a beacon of hope and something that made me happy, and I wanted to make reading a larger part of my life again, and I wanted to have accountability in that. And it has had a massive effect on my mental health, just seeing people visibly talking about mental health and being supportive and caring about me as an individual was something that I never really expected. And it has also had a huge impact on my reading and also writing life through that, because I have read more books in the last 2.5 years than I did in the previous 19. Audiobooks are magical. But am I still afraid to make reviews because I don't think I'm smart enough to make them? Or is it just that I'm not dedicated enough to, script, film, and edit them? Because that's a lot of work. And when we're talking about things that I'm just not doing, let's think about those psychology and history videos I promised. Or, Kier, what about those deep dive author videos? Yeah, you promised those, right? Or those lore and history videos. Oh, they're too so funny. Yeah, you did 2 introduction videos 2 years apart, no less, and still haven't really done anything that substantial with it. Dedication. And yeah, adequate lighting. You're gonna get that one day, right? Or, decent editing, maybe. That's your thumbnail. Yeah, no surprise that people unsubscribe every time you publish videos. Yeah. And because you probably went on that really dumb rant again, how many times? And you thought that was funny. How cute. Yeah, that's great. These are the things that ricochet in my brain all the time, and it's about time that I address them. It's about time that I write them out and do that, because when I address them, when we address them, they become less daunting. They stop flitting around in our brain and taking up space of memory and overwhelming us. So be honest, why did you start your channel? Was it popularity? Because I knew it. Was it friendship? Was it accountability? Whatever it was, write it out. Then write if it's a goal that you still want to meet. Is it one that you're still working toward? Is it something that you still have greater aspirations in? What are your aspirations? What are you most afraid of? What are the areas you've been so successful in? And what are the areas you still need to work in? And write out the things that you can change and ways to change them and ways to accept the things you can't. I'm not going to be able to afford a camera or better editing software, at least for now. But, I could maybe move my lamps a little and, if it's crazy, I can film during the day. Who would have guessed, though? And I can take a deep breath and open my laptop and script the things that are whirling around in my brain, and I can hit play and film the videos I'm afraid I'm not smart enough to. And maybe no one will watch, but maybe someone will. I am not good enough, and I am too much. These are lies that burrow into me deep because they're ones that I believe very fully in my heart. And when I asked you guys what your insecurities were, a lot of you echoed the same insecurities in me: awkwardness, incompetence, lack of originality, that you're not entertaining. And these hurt me because they're things that I perceive in you guys that you don't see in yourselves, and that hurts. And I've been raw enough in my own insecurity that a lot of you probably already started writing out a well-meaningful, encouraging, hopefully genuine comment. But that's not the point. But it's funny because you're probably extending me more grace and value than you probably would yourself. And there's a golden rule that says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And the funny thing is, it does not say as you do unto yourself, because let's be honest, if I was to treat people with the same respect and value that I treat myself, I would be a pretty crappy human being. I realize that I'm not alone in this. I think that majority of us treat ourselves a lot worse than we treat others. And that is what I'm talking about. The fact that what you have in your head as the worst things that people are going to say are probably nowhere near what anyone is ever going to think about you. They're probably not even a quarter or half as bad as what the worst person would think about you. And yes, there are people that are going to be trolls that are going to try to get a rise out of you, but sometimes those people just need hugs because they're lacking some human dignity of what they look at people, and people hurt out of hurt, and to listen to them is just to continue that cycle. And I know it's hard sometimes, but the breathing thing, And I'm not saying that we shouldn't have critical thinking. I think that critical thinking is something really important, especially in a community that really values learning and intelligence. But critical thinking should always have love and respect underlining it, and it's something that will make you grow, and should also be something that the person wants and desires and shouldn't be just pushed on you. But I think that's all there really is to say, that you shouldn't listen to the fear and the things that overwhelm you, that it's okay, and try to think of the things that you think about yourself and compare them to the ways that you think of others, because more often than not, they're overly harsh. So I said hopefully genuine earlier, and this was to lead into the way that I think we also dismiss ourselves. It is by believing the things that people say to us aren't true, or they're only just trying to be nice. And one of the people that responded to my comment of asking people for their insecurities was Kate, and I really, really appreciate them. I talked about them in my last video, so I thought it was only fair I talk about them again. And one of their insecurities was their appearance, which flabbergasted me, because I think that I watch almost all of their videos, and every time I see their videos, I'm like, I think that they are one of the most gorgeous human beings I've ever seen. And their other was that they fear that they just aren't that eloquent, and I think that's crazy, because I literally rewatch their videos to remember exactly how they word things, because it's so eloquent and amazing, and their openness about mental health is something that just inspires me and encourages me. And I had a friend who was having a hard time with accepting bipolar and feeling alone and isolated and fearful, and I showed them their videos, and it was such a thing of solace and beauty for them to have their words and feelings verbalized. It broke isolation and gave a sense of solace. So what I'm saying is that I don't always say these things because they feel gushy and they feel over the top and a little bit obsessive and maybe false, and sometimes I type out whole things only to backspace them because I'm like, that sounds a little creepy. And my point is here, I think that a lot of people have more lovely thoughts in their brains they're never going to say because they're fearful of how people perceive them when they say those things, because insecurity is alive and well in this world. And that is my point. When people compliment you, breathe. And I know that's like the fourth time, but it's the counselor in me, and it helps you slow down and internalize. And internalize is what I want you to do. I want you to be able to think of these things and to internalize the ways that people see good in you. And you don't have to perceive all of them. You don't have to internalize all of them. Sometimes people perceive you in ways that you don't really agree with, and that's okay. But don't agree with them because of who you are and not because of your insecurity. I deserve success. This one's a little bit more controversial, but stick with me. You/I deserve blank is one of my most hated sentences. We have inherent value, and yet we live in a sucky world. We should always strive to have equality, to open up opportunities, and to raise up voices that are not heard, and to be inclusive. That's pretty much the point of my last video. And yet, different people will do the same thing and get very different results. The same amount of intelligent work or effort does not equal the same results. I've been here for 2.5 years. I've made over 200 videos, and yet there are tons, hundreds even, of booktubers who have been here a fraction of the time, who have made a fraction of the content, and yet have double, triple, 10 times, 40 times the amount of subscribers than I do. And the thing is, I'm not owed their success. They made different choices than me. They made probably better quality videos. They probably had better analysis than me and took the risk that I'm really afraid of making. And they probably are better at networking because I'm still afraid of DMing people that I've been following for 2.5 years, because insecurity is alive and well. The thing is, though, I'm not also better than the people that are smaller than me, who have less subscribers, because there are creators like Emily Alice, who I've followed from the beginning, and, she's amazing. She is very raw and honest and authentic, and I adore that. And she is always proud of living and representing autism, and she even made a readathon about it, and yet somehow after 2 years she still has only 60 subscribers, and I'm like, how? This is baffling. Or there's Liz, the lazy booktuber, who I adore. I wouldn't have known who she was if it wasn't for BookCon, but she's so kind and intelligent and creative and so, so funny. And like, I think she's literally one of the most underrated booktubers ever, because she's a published author and like ridiculously charismatic, and yet somehow has under 200 subscribers. Like, how? This is baffling. Like, please unsubscribe from me and go follow them, because they deserve it. Like, so much more. They put in so much more effort. And that's the thing. There's a paradox here, because I don't think that we should feed the lie that we deserve things, because effort is not proportionate to success and worth is not based on success. So we've come to the end, and I could say much, much, much more, but I value the time that you've given me, and just, I hope that you have breathed at least twice, and just know that in crippling insecurity, you're not alone, that you're welcome here, and that your worth is not based on a number beside your username. But I do hope that you put as much effort in now as you did when you first began, and when you grow, and hold on to that feeling of success, whether it comes big, small, or medium-sized. And all in all, just make the content that when you rewatch it, you smile, because sometimes no one is watching. But if you're smiling because you're watching something that you created, I think that's successful. And I hope that you find many adventures while reading. And until next time, just breathe.